at 5:15 a.m. local time, 120 years ago today, April 18th, 1906, the worst earthquake and preceding fire that California and the U.S. experienced. While San Francisco suffered irreparable damage, 80% of its principal buildings and homes destroyed. The real tragedy was from the resulting fire. The earthquake happened only for 30 seconds, then a raging fire for the next 3 days, resulting in firefighters to create a fire break on Van Ness Avenue, which subsequently made more damage because they had to use dynamite. But it obviously ultimately saved the city. Roughly 500 dead were reported. However, now we know that there were more like 3,000. But there were millions displaced and homeless. Many people actually went across the bay in Oakland to what was known at the time as Memorial Park. As it states, it talks about how they had to dynamite, and all 3 newspapers were completely destroyed. They actually had to borrow newspaper sheets from the Oakland Tribune to make this paper. That is why this is the Call Chronicle Examiner. They all came together to report on the tragic event of the city. It was estimated that the loss would be 200 million, equivalent to billions today, but that number is much higher, according to historians. And on the Richter scale, which wouldn't come out for another few years, seismologists predicted or theorized a 10.2, which is obviously the largest in recorded history. It talks about other cities: San Jose, Santa Rosa, Alameda, etc. On the flip side of that, the city of Berkeley across the bay in Oakland, and much of Oakland itself, was spared, which is sort of ironic in a way. San Francisco utterly destroyed, Oakland and the city of Berkeley saved. However, there was damage, as this newspaper shows. This was printed the evening of, so a lot of this information was unreliable at the time. This one was the next day. That is why all 3 are together, the Call Chronicle Examiner. And while also still tough because of the fire that wouldn't be distinguished until the 21st, a lot of people still didn't know what was correct and what was fiction. However, the one city that completely got wiped off the map, and that you can almost 100%, even though it was printed the same night, that you can tell almost everything in the paper is factual: Santa Rosa Republican. Roughly 95% of it destroyed, completely wiped off the map. The worst hit city in the radius of the earthquake, even though the epicenter was San Francisco. This paper discusses only the dead and wounded, the missing, and a little bit information on the recovery efforts. It was hastily put together, even though much of the city was destroyed, as it says here. And as I say, this was dated the evening of. So this is a very unique find. But all three together create a unparalleled, in my opinion, event, structure, storytelling on the earthquake. And obviously the a little less known fact, the city of Santa Rosa. If you enjoy this kind of content and the content that I keep giving out, showing papers from the events, not just in history books or documentaries, please like, subscribe, follow to bring this to more viewership. Thank you.